What's up, guys? We're back with a tier list video. This is your response on play. I'm Jake, joined by Brian, Steph, James, and Andrew. We're just going to be kind of giving out our thoughts on what we think, where we think these characters will land in the upcoming competitive season. We've got top tier, BUSSIN. We can't be wrong about this. There's no way. We've never been wrong about anything. We've got competitive tier, right under surefires, things that are more likely to see competitive play than others, aka what James is probably going to beat me with at locals every week until I learn how to play against them. We have the rogue local tier. This is what your average Joe is going to play. Fun decks, cool stuff. Somebody might sneak a cool win at a regional with. And then the last tier, we have whatever Andrew likes. It's probably unplayable.
Hey.
First character we're doing Allura Vysoren.
Allura Vysoren.
That's literally what I said.
I think she's competitive. James convinced me in our last episode when he talked about City Rampage and being able to get the benefits and then clear it. That's really good. The fact that she's got chaos on her and she gets to clear, and she gets to steal momentum and she gets to clear those spell cards, or not spells actually. It's just action cards, right? Yeah, action cards. Yeah, I think she's competitive, borderline BUSSIN. That's my opinion.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say I think she definitely is at least competitive tier. She has, like we mentioned in the previous episode, she just has the response that your opponent has to respect, because if they just go, well, here's my dunk attack, here's my attack with cool words, okay, well now it doesn't have words on it anymore, and I'm for sure blocking it because my next check splits through. So if they don't respect it, they're probably just gonna lose.
I'd make an argument towards BUSSIN, honestly.
I would say competitive is the worst that she could be. My real thing for her is she only really gets to block the one, which we've talked about before on other characters in the previous episode. That might not be enough. And she has to also be able to commit herself and a foundation. So it is a pretty steep cost. If she calls out the wrong card to be sealed, she will probably just die. But that being said, I think she's at worst competitive. I think her words and her symbols are too good to be in the unplayable / rogue local.
I'm gonna say let's go ahead and put her in competitive for now. I'm gonna say if she gets a chrome, she's BUSSIN. If she doesn't get a chrome, she's competitive.
Well,
so I'm willing to accept that. If she gets a chrome, agreed. Can't be wrong. She's BUSSIN.
James, you think BUSSIN? What do you think?
Personally, I think she's BUSSIN. I mean, the argument that Brian's got about, making the wrong call. Yeah, that could be
for the whole game, right? But
right. I mean, it could be a detriment, but she's not a seven-hander. She has the Chaos symbol, which has plenty of defense and a lot of tools to play defense. So, I don't think she's just gonna die if she makes the wrong turn wrong call on the one turn.
Yeah, I think we move her up to BUSSIN, to be honest. Next character, we've got Beauregard Lion something.
Oh my God.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Let me read these characters.
Beauregard Lionette.
Lionette, yeah.
Lionette, we did it.
I personally think she is minimum local tier. She just seems a little niche to try to be competitive. On top of her diet multiple, you have to discard an attack, you have to check a 6, and so once returned on your turn. So there's a lot of stipulation to try to do this multiple. And her other enhance, doesn't really facilitate with the doesn't give the stats to the based on attacks, which I get why, but I just find this character just a little too niche for competitive play. But I could definitely see her doing really well at a local scramble qualifier.
Nice.
So
I like that plug, Andrew.
Bringing out the new terms.
Yeah, the new organized play stuff. That was really good. Universus should pay you for that, Andrew.
They should pay us.
Yeah, I think local is perfect for this character.
I think she's rogue local with what we currently know. Now, obviously, she could get cards that are on her symbols that make her competitive.
Well, we're talking strictly. We're mainly talking strictly character.
But with the words on her face, I think she's rogue specialist thing. Someone could take a regional because they're I've been playing only Bo for the last 2 years. No one knows what she does like I do. I'm gonna kill you.
Sure, absolutely. I think we go rogue.
But I think she's rogue local.
I agree.
So next character we have Caduceus Clay.
Caduceus Clay.
Caduceus Clay, insightful caretaker.
It's like reading with a third grader.
Okay, listen, you can just cut the first one. My real thoughts on this character, he's fine. I think he's probably rogue local tier.
Yeah, I feel like he's a rogue local. I don't think he's bad. I don't know if he does enough to be good.
Mean, a good mention for just with the wording of his ability that does lean into the PvE aspect that is being reintroduced with this set with the boss cards and everything.
The box toppers. Yep.
Yes. So
I mean, he'll be good and stuff like that.
Oh,
100%. In like a actual like if they did come up with some kind of like 2v2 format where you like share stage and stuff, be like, hey man, I heal my ally.
I think he's rogue local at minimum based on what I know about backups. Just right now, I think he could possibly be competitive with the right player. However,
with the right player and the right backups.
5-hand is rough. That's what makes me say local.
You also get the added benefit here. You just give your opponent 4 health every turn and still kill them anyway.
The BM.
The biggest BM ever. Hey, here's 4 health. Anyway,
well,
die.
Now it's definitely James Lynn.
Dude, flex on your opponent so bad. Like the disrespect. Next up, we have Caleb Widowgast, Fiery Transmuter.
This character, right, for just off of the character himself, I hate to do it to him, but he's probably in the unplayable tier for right now. We don't really know what else is going, because his character abilities depends on what's coming out in the set, so it's hard to base where he ranks off of himself. I mean, I like his words. Caleb's probably the character I'm most excited for in this set. I think, but just right now, he probably is just sitting in the unplayable tier, if not definitely local tier.
Yeah,
so I don't agree with that. But the reason I don't agree with that is on Void, he literally just gets to remove a card and block with a combined firepower, respond, burn my opponent for 1. He always has access to 2 or 3 of them because he can get them in their discard and block from there and play them. I think he's probably competitive.
Competitive is crazy.
I mean, I will actually concede and say that you're right. I didn't really think about it that way. I still don't know if I'd say competitive. I don't know. He seems very tricky. He's going to take some time to just crack. And he gives me a bit of Nezu vibes with his enhance of just, I'm just going to discard this to pick up this. Like, very toolboxy, right? I would love to see a Caleb list, like, at, like, a regional or something. I definitely think if you put enough time into the character and really learn the character and matchups, I could actually see him being competitive. But he would be local. I'm going to change my stance and say he's minimum local tier.
Based on what we have right now, I would put him at probably unplayable. The big thing, he only gets the burn for 3. The actions he gets to play, he has a couple decent ones depending on what symbol you pick. If you play on life, you can play like Wound Restore.
He doesn't have life.
Oh, he doesn't have life?
He has Chaos Fire Void.
Oh, sorry.
He does get Wound Restore on Fire and Chaos.
On Chaos. He also gets Dark Tournament Looms on Chaos. He gets Genkai's Guidance on Chaos. He gets Combined Firepower on Void. He gets Citywide Rampage
on Fire and Void.
He gets Citywide Rampage on so you can just Citywide Rampage, burn him for 1. But like what we have right now with like if you want to go the burn aspect, I don't feel like the burn aspect, like outside of maybe catching your opponent like really edge case, like, well, you've played me down this far and now I get to burn you for 1, which is funny. I think the only one is like Wound Restore would be really good to burn them for 1 and then they lose 4 health. So like 5 health is meaningful. Cute Host Kodo, also if you play him on fire, like there's some interesting, or like Sakyo's Gamble is actually pretty interesting. I'm actually talking myself up. I was actually going to try to put him in probably unplayable because I know Andrew wants to play this character.
I very much want to play this character.
I think his symbols give him at least rogue local. I feel like this is a character, depending on what's in the set, he could even go up to competitive. But I think he's at least rogue local, to be honest.
I'm willing to accept rogue local. I do think that even with the stuff he has, just like you were saying, if you want to build into one of his 2 options, he has it. Obviously, we know we don't know what the cool spells that he wants to play are, but he can play most of the spell kit that we've already seen.
Yeah, I think Rogue Local is where we should go. To be honest, I think there's some stuff on him because of chaos. I just think that like it only gets better with what's revealed. So I'm gonna say Rogue Local may be competitive in the future.
Now, we really had to do it to him.
Unplayable. Go next.
Unplayable.
Yeah,
Go,
honestly, no
unplayable.
notes.
Go next. No notes.
I do think that he's probably Rogue Local. Unless they give him something
Nope.
that just like
Absolutely.
breaks him.
I don't think
I think
he
he's
is.
unplayable.
Jake, you didn't even say his name.
I do not think he. I think right now with what we know, he's unplayable. I think he's probably gonna be in like the Rogue Local, but he could end up being like that Elder Taguro setup where like 3 sets from now he's going to like be like, hey, I get to like just kind of break the game in a way that it's not supposed to be played.
Maybe.
But like,
But right now,
but
he's
like,
unplayable.
it just depends.
But
Yeah,
even,
right now,
but
I
even
don't.
so, that list only shows up sometimes and is like when people like it took people by surprise at one event, and then ever since nobody's really like it hasn't really shined at all. So let's talk about let's talk about a real character. Fjord, the Seas champion. I want to put Rogue or Local on this one. He gives me Yusuke vibes. I've done some fun stuff with Yusuke, but Yusuke is very hard to play successfully, especially in the current meta.
Because he's not a 7-hand size, he doesn't have to discard, so that's nice. He just commits.
If it was not cards that just say Spellbolt, I think he could be competitive, but I think that's going to be an issue with him.
I think I agree. A part of me wants to say I can see him being competitive because of his response being able to just target seal problem cards and then just make the next attack stronger. But again, the enhanced relying on Spellbolt does hinder it a little bit. So I think I would concede the local tier.
All right, listen. Grog Strongjaw, Mighty Half Giant.
I see him being competitive.
He's
I was
easily
gonna say
competitive.
Easily competitive.
Minimum competitive.
Yeah.
I think he's busting no notes.
I think he could be bussin'.
He can pick whether he wants to eat the attack or if it's like too high, it's like, no, I'm just gonna go ahead and block it. I'm not gonna get a range counter, but you're not hitting me for 12. I'm not okay with that. You can hit me for 3 because I'm gonna make it 3.
I build for 2 turns and I kill you in a turn.
Sure.
Like that is something that certain characters do. That is why I think competitive for sure.
Yeah.
I think he almost
he's 100% competitive. 100%.
Absolutely. But there are worlds where you just like he doesn't take any damage and then he's dead. I think definitely competitive. I think borderline busting for sure. But I would stick him in competitive.
I'm fine with that. I don't agree, but it's fine.
Overruled.
Jester Lavore, Travelers, Faithful.
Yeah, I think that's unplayable.
Unplayable.
It's so hard to do her stuff.
It makes me so sad because the first Jester is so cool, and then this one just feels like a downgrade.
Yeah, and she's just not consistent. Like the discarding a random card, like why?
See, I could see that if she got the stats regardless.
Yeah, exactly.
And like there are several ways to make her, which we talked about in the Response on Play episode, last episode. Go listen to it if you haven't. I think there are so many ways they could have made her at minimum more playable. But yeah, I think probably unplayable for now. Next one on my list is Kalith of the Air Ashari.
Unplayable.
I will come through this computer screen.
With your powers combined, she becomes
local.
Unplayable.
She becomes Rogue Local.
I want to say competitive because I think there's a slim chance, but she's a 700 with no real defense or offense, so it's going to be a hard battle to fight.
I want to point out to the listeners at home why probably unplayable is named Andrew's Picks with what he just said right now. Look at this character. And what he just said right now is this tier exists.
I think it mostly just depends on the pilot's skill. Minimum.
I just feel like this character doesn't really do anything. Like, you unflip a foundation and you ready a foundation.
I feel like she's
difficulty
trying to play
1 or less, by the way.
Yeah, and she's got no defense. She's got no offense.
She got 21 health. Andrew is straight huffing like opium. Like
I just refuse that she goes in unplayable because I don't agree.
You said she could be competitive. Shut your mouth.
I want this video archived for when this character wins a regional.
Yeah, when this character wins Worlds next year.
Let's put it to a vote. Everybody that thinks she's competitive.
Andrew?
Andrew.
I'm not gonna get my face shoved in the fucking dirt again. You guys can kiss my ass.
Everybody that thinks that she's a rogue local.
She is at least a local tier. Kiss my ass.
Rogue
Okay,
local is
so
my vote as well.
Okay, so we have 2, and then everybody thinks she's unplayable.
I think she's unplayable.
I think
Yeah,
she's
there's no
unplayable.
way.
Right now,
Cool.
she's unplayable.
Okay. Yeah. Well, majority rule. Jesus.
Future me. Edit all of this out.
He's putting her in bussin' tier. Next character, Lady Kima of Vord.
I don't know. I'm feeling.
We've got Devil Jin at home. Is a rogue
Yeah.
I agree.
I would say
Rogue
real
local.
local for sure.
I also say rogue local.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she's definitely playable.
Unanimous.
Like, for
Agreed.
sure. The next character, we have Molly Mock, Tea Leaf, Carnival Hooligan.
He's bussin'.
He's bussin'.
He's competitive. I don't.
I think
he's competitive.
I don't
think
think
he's
he's better
better
than Grog.
bussin'. He's hella bussin'. For real, no cap on God.
All right. Now with all that said, competitive.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely competitive. I think losing a
I
health
don't think
to
he's
get
better than Grog in this
No.
case.
Well,
Well, and if Grog isn't
I don't
going to
think
get
he's
to be
better
in
than Toga
Bussin',
1.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
Or
think-
Toga 1, but Toga
Toga 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he's still competitive.
Oh, I definitely think he's competitive. He's better than every
Fine.
character in that rogue local tier by an amount.
by an amount. That's
We'll
right.
say he's borderline. I'm gonna put him in front of Grog just to make
I don't
Ryan
agree,
mad.
Even though the order of them in these tiers means absolutely nothing.
It means something to me and probably to Brian.
Not really. Like,
I'm just saying, Hooligan runs these streets, Brian. Grog can step over.
I am totally cool with the Hula Gang. I like Molly Mock. I saw him and I'm like, wow, those are cool. That's a cool ability. Like, this is interesting. I might want to play this. I just think with what Grog can do on his face, Grog could literally just go win a regional or a national. Right now, we have no cards that have his face on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's sick. I get it. He's a donut and you're going to glaze him. But the tiers are the tiers, the order means nothing. Moving on. Not the Brave, Chaotic Meddler. What do we think, team?
I think she might be competitive.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I was gonna say I think there is a world where not could be competitive. Like the words that she has are very good.
Yeah.
And she also has chaos, so she's gonna have a good time just building up momentum just to make all her attacks basically unblockable. But again, she is a 7-hander, and the only defense she has is making an attack deal no damage on block. So has throw hate on face, which is nice, but it could not be enough.
I'd be fine with competitive, but I think she's on face just for local.
Yeah, I'm real local.
Okay, I would concede that.
I think as an aggro character, she looks promising.
Yes,
Mhm.
like definitely there's
Agreed.
there's if she gets the cards, like the right kind of cards, like she's a character that could very easily go, hey man, it's turn 3, I'm killing you now.
Next character, Percival de Rollo III, Vengeful Sharpshooter. I think he's rogue local. To be honest, as much as I like this character and I'm going to play this character,
Yeah.
Same. I agree.
I cannot
Agreed.
glaze him. I think he's rogue local. I think he's got some cool stuff. I look forward to trying to make him competitive. He does some cool stuff I like, but I think he's rogue local. What
I
do you think,
agree.
James?
Yeah, no, the rogue local.
Well, okay, so it doesn't matter what James thinks. He's rogue local. Pike
Yeah.
Trickfoot, Ferocious Priestess.
I
Competitive.
I think
yeah,
so
that's
too.
because I think
For sure.
competitive.
Yeah, I'm basically waffling between those two zones of competitive or rogue local, and I would not be surprised at either thing. Like
All right,
if she
Ymir-
just didn't get the support, then she's
Ymir
rogue
is
local.
a topping character.
Ymir
like-
does get to make her damage insane, which Pike doesn't necessarily get to do, but I do think that she's probably got the sauce on her cylinders.
Yeah, but I would put Ymir in like Bussin, and I think this is kind of a step down or like a different take on Ymir. So that's why I think competitive on this one
That's,
for sure.
that's totally fair. I agree, Ymir. In the hypothetical tier list we did not make for that set.
Oh, we made a
Ymir
list.
would have
It
been
just
up there.
it didn't go out because too many things got said that are against Twitch's TOS.
And also we weren't making content.
We're also not on Twitch.
Oh, nice. Cool. Well, then I can just say that Pumat Soul, Magical Proprietor.
I think he's competitive.
So this is the highest rogue local. I think something has to come out. We have to see something that like pushes him over the edge to make him competitive. But I think he might.
I agree with James. If they give him something really crazy, then yeah, maybe he's really good. But I personally am just like, I don't.
This is Irwin to me. Like, this is nobody sees it coming, and then just, hey, it's Puma Soul from the top rope!
Yeah, Puma Soul out of nowhere wins it all. And you're like,
oh, agreed.
How? Wait, what was this list looking like?
Yeah, agreed.
I think we put him at the highest rogue local and just say he is borderline competitive for sure. Like, I could see somebody being like ridiculous and like making this character
like
nuts.
I just think like the option to choose between EX3 or they commit 2 or you draw 2 cards is like, that feels strong to me. That feels very strong. I feel like
no, it's good. There's a lot of variety to it. Yeah.
I feel like that pushes him to competitive, but
he also has 28 health as a mage, so
yeah, you know.
Never mind, unplayable.
The only person I'm mad at about that is Caleb because he was the first one to do it.
Scanlan Shorthalt.
Scanlan Shorthalt. Devious Troubadour.
Pretty sure he's unplayable.
You're not him. You are unplayable.
Yeah, I'm like the only way he could be good is he gets some set of cards that let him pick up those face downs and do something wild with them. And at that point, he doesn't do it better than other people on his symbols. Just going, I'm gonna pick up those face downs.
Yeah, if we're doing that, like his card will go and spike on Earth. Or well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like that would be the only way, and then I just don't see it.
Tyrion Darrington, naive creator.
He is at least local tier. I could see him being competitive. We would just have to see a bit more from the set, I think.
Yeah.
I almost want to put him in competitive. I feel like even with what we have on his symbols, there's already interesting enough stuff that he gets to build in for free.
Oh, I mean, I'm absolutely fine with him being competitive because I think he can definitely get there. I'm also just curious of what else he will get access to with the rest of the set. Which, granted, we already have an asset of his spoiled already, which is obviously going to work really good with this character. I mean, he can give stats, and then he can also just free build, like cheat in assets. So
Life takes away stats.
Yeah, he can stat manipulate.
I'm fine with competitive because he can also take away speed. The biggest thing for a lot of these competitive characters that manipulate speed is they should be able to do it in both directions. And if they can't, then they probably just die. And he doesn't, so I'm willing to put him there, even though I think he's probably real local.
6 hand, 31 health, and also gets some odd speed in both directions. Mimic before the errata is like running the meta. Like
Mimic gets to cheat assets in a different way than he does, though.
Correct, which is why I wouldn't put I think Mimic Bussin. I think he's competitive.
I mean, Mimic I don't think was Bussin until this year. Like he showed up at Gen Con, and then when that was
Phil Birch top stats with him.
Yeah,
last year.
And how many other people besides Phil Birch were playing Mimic?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is he's been popping up. He's been topping. Like it just means people weren't paying enough attention, and now he's running the meta. Or pre-errata was running the meta, but that's what I mean. Is like that's my argument for putting him in competitive.
I'm competitive.
He's got more health. He's 6 hand size and can manipulate speed both directions while free building assets. I think good.
Yeah, I agree. He's healthy. He's got a good hand size, stat manipulation. Like that alone, I feel like makes him competitive.
And he builds assets from the drop.
And that
so
just
you can
check
them, block them, discard them, mash them, fry them, stick them in a stew. Like they're good. Vaxildon Dagger Master.
Character sick.
Simple character, competitive. I
think he's
very
competitive.
good.
Yeah. I don't think he's Bussin, but I think he's competitive.
I think Death
default competitive.
Yeah, Death Weapons, currently something seeing a lot of play. He rips the card out of your rival's hand. There are so many ways you can play him. He gives damage on his turn as he's stacking attacks into you, and minus his speed as he's blocking. So just going, I've blocked 3 cards, but now I'm ignoring progressive on the blocks, basically. I think that's pretty valuable.
Competitive for sure.
Vexalia, Protector of the Wilds.
Yeah, I think she's rogue local.
Yeah, I think rogue local for sure. I think she could be higher.
Yeah, I could honestly see some fringe build with this character, possibly top cutting a regional, because I think this Vexalia has the sauce. We would just have to see, really, but rogue local for sure.
Yeah, I definitely. That's kind of my thing. Is like I feel like she's got the sauce. We talked about some stuff in our podcast that's already out by now. I think that she could be better. I've seen other like the current backs that we have lists do okay, and like do some neat stuff. So I really think that she could do some neat stuff as well. Last character, Yasha Nidoran, Batman Maker.
I mean, she seems.
I like competitive. Like
I could
I'm
see
on
it.
that one.
I mean, I could see it. She seems pretty good.
Yeah.
I almost want to say BUSSIN just because
Really?
I think removing 2 cards from your opponent's hands is scary as hell.
I think that's scary as hell.
That's
I
once
just
per
still
game.
think if we were putting one of these 2 rage characters in the BUSSIN, I still think it's Grog. But
Yeah. So my thing is like you remove 6 rage counters, so you have to have
you had to have been
like
hit 6
a
times.
lot.
Yeah.
Well, you have to hit 6 times, and then also you have to have more than that if you want to have meaningful damage pump afterwards.
You just need 1 more than that. +2 is fine.
Yeah, plus not. I mean meaningful damage. I mean you damage boost and then you go, hey, remove, and then that hits them. Yeah, I think maybe competitive. Maybe I'm being talked down a little bit. She's not
I think she's
BUSSIN.
competitive.
I think removing 2 cards from your hand at any point is scary, especially on trigraph symbols.
Yeah.
Because if I trigraph you and then you remove 2 cards off that, I can. If most characters that are being played are 6 hand size characters, you're telling me you didn't play 1 to 2 cards on your turn, 1, 2, or 3 cards on your turn, and if you didn't, you probably blocked 1 or 2 of my attacks beforehand.
I think she's
thing, though.
competitive with the idea that if the 6 attacks that hit her don't kill her, she gets to go, hey, you need to hold 1 or 2 more cards than you did before. Because if you can't kill me, I will kill you. You only have to take 18 damage to get that. No, I know. I was just saying, like, once the 6th attack hits and you have that option, it just becomes, hey, you better not build, because if you build 2, you take do 2 attacks and build 2, and I block them. Like, I just go, oh, this happens to be the turn. We're done.
Yeah, if they don't have ways to draw cards on board, you just go, hey, I'm going to rip those cards out of your hand, and now every one of my attacks is going to kill you. And she has a 6-hander with 29 health. I think she's competitive. I think.
Yeah, I feel like she could fall into the same problem that we were talking about with Grog, though, where she's got even less health. So you're just like, yeah, I'll build for 2 turns. I'll hit you 5 times for, get you down to like 10 health, and then I'll just kill you next turn. Like, talking, of course, she doesn't have any way to generate rage counters.
Yeah,
Which
which you might, but like on as it sits right now, as we make this tier list, I think, I think competitive. I think
competitive.
I don't want to
for sure.
I don't want to put her rogue local because I feel like she's a little bit stronger than that.
I
agreed.
would put her at the bottom of competitive for sure.
Yeah.
Now that that's the last one, can we go back and revisit Grog? Can we have a discussion about Grog? I feel like we need to discuss.
I'm fine with putting Grog in BUSSIN. I think he's powerful.
What do you guys think?
I just don't think he's BUSSIN, but I would say out of everybody in that tier, Grog is probably the one to move up. If I had to move one up.
Yeah, I think he could be BUSSIN because he's on Earth and he gets access to like a lot of throws, and then he's just always doing damage.
Yeah, he does get to also buff throws. He does not say non-throws.
I would say I think he's BUSSIN. I've been thinking about it. I think he's BUSSIN.
I think Grog's the one to move up if we're going to move anyone up for sure. I think he's strong. I think he's going to see play, and I know Brian's going to play the fuck out of him. So,
oh yeah, like unless they just give him garbage.
And that's going to sum up the tier list from us. We agreed a lot more than I thought for the most part, but I've been Jake. It's called Andrew's Picks for a reason.
This has been Steph. Molly Mock will always be BUSSIN in my heart.
Andrew, I'm only slightly crying.
Brian, I would like to rage.
And James, just the other guy.